I have been gone forever, and it's so good to be back. I wanted to let you know that I've been kind of busy. It's been a heavy month, and I know we're only halfway through it, but work has been, work. And as you happy crafters know, sometimes work can take over and make a person sleepy and tired and unable to post these wonderful videos. But I'm here today to show you a clean and simple card and to let you know that I'm going to be doing some special cards for Elisa. Elisa is one of my YouTube subscribers in Massachusetts, and I met her just recently, and she is so adorable. She's a young girl, or I should say a young woman. She's growing up, and she is super smart. And her favorite color is aquamarine. So it took me a while to figure out what should I do with aquamarine, and I realized that our new colors that you guys don't know about yet, or maybe some of you do, will probably meet that need better. So until I get those new colors in the mail, I'm going to work with some paints to do some aquamarine magic today. So I wanted to play with this stamp set because when I think of Massachusetts, I think of the ocean. I actually grew up in Massachusetts, spent a great deal of my childhood in Plymouth, Mass, and in Cape Cod. And so we were always right on the water. So when I saw this stamp set, it just took me back home to my mom, to my house, to my beach, to walking barefoot, and I just remembered the good times. So I said, let me use these stamps today. Now I'm going to focus on just one. And this is going to be one of those clean and simple designs that you can do in just a few minutes. So I'm going to use this fish today, and I'm going to make him hop on a card. Now as my product, I'm not going to use ink today. I'm going to use some paints. So I'm going to use an acrylic paint in teal. And I'm going to use another acrylic paint in a color called yellow pastel. And so I'm going to put those colors right next to each other on a paper plate. And then I'm going to get out my daubers and we're going to have some fun. As my card base, I'm going to use 3 different card bases. One, I'm going to use a textured card base that I love. It's just textured cardstock that I picked up at a local craft store. I'm going to use a piece of Whisper White, which is your standard Whisper White cardstock cut in half and then folded. And then I'm going to do a 4x6, which gives me a little bit more real estate going the long way. So let's start with the textured piece, and you'll get to see, when you're working with different mediums as your base, what the impact can be with just changing a piece of paper. I'm going to start with this one, and basically I'm going to stamp this stamp a few times so that the fish looks like it's kind of leaping off from this mysterious water underneath the card. Now, I was very tempted to use my Stamp-A-Majig with this, but I'm not going to prove to you people that I can live without my Stamp-A-Majig, even though I don't see why I'd want to. So I'm going to take the teal with my dauber, and I'm going to just put it at the top of the stamp. After I do that, I'm going to use a phone applicator. And the reason I'm switching applicators is just to show you that you have options. I'm going to use the phone applicator and put yellow on the bottom. So you get this kind of a two-tone fish effect. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it with a little of my stamping spritzer water with a little bit of shimmer paint in it. The reason I'm spritzing is to blend the colors. I'm just pulling it away so you don't have to be sprayed too. And then I'm going to stamp this first one kind of off, pointing up. And then I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to take my teal. What I love about this technique, guys, what really makes it rock for me, is that you end up with texture from stamping that I don't kind of seem to get any other way than this. So I really love stamping with paint for that reason. Okay, I'm going to spray this again. And again, I'm only doing like one spritz. I'm not trying to get a watercolor effect here. The second one, I'm going to pick him up, but he kind of looks like he's coming down. And then I'm going to do my last one. And again, it's just the same technique. My little dauber turned upside down. So be careful as you're working. That's why I use this great big, this is called paper plate, to help me keep everything nice and neat. And you don't have to do it exactly the same so that your fish look a little bit unique. You know, every fish, like every person, is unique. I'm going to spritz that. And then I'm going to give this last fish a little trip off the bottom here, but I'm going to try to get most of his face. And then after I do that, I'm going to put a little stamp on this, and I've decided to use just black ink here. And it's an old stamp that I have. It's by PaperTray ink, actually, but it's so perfect I can't resist using it. It simply says Fin-Tastic. Now, it is best to wait till this dries a little bit because I actually want it over the yellow. So let's hold on a second. I'm going to pause the video and come right back. Okay, it's dry enough. You might want to leave it dry, you know, an hour. I think I left it dry just for 10 minutes. But I'm just going to put Fin-Tastic, which was too perfect to pass up. And there's my first card on the textured cardstock. Let's do the same thing on Whisper White, and you'll notice that the contrast of the stark white paper really does help. So I've cleaned my stamp when you weren't looking, and now I'm just going to do the same thing. So I'm going to put the teal on the top, and of course you can use any color you want. There's no rule that says you need to use teal. I think I need a little bit more yellow on my dish. Now what I do notice, you know, those of you who are deciding whether to use a foam applicator or a dauber, the foam applicator eats up a little bit more of the paint. So I believe you get less texture with the foam applicator than you do with the dauber, and you use more paint. So just an FYI. I'm going to spray this. And then I'm going to start, look, I'm like jumping up out of the water here. And now when you're using this on the Whisper White, FYI, you're going to get that really strong contrast. What you're going to see when I show you the sample video, the sample images at the end, a little bit better because the light on the camera can impact the contrast. But just so that you know, the contrast is very much different on the Whisper White than it is on the textured cardstock, and I like the contrast. So to me, it's a better contrast. Depends on what you're going for. And I'm going to spray this again. And I love the teal with the, and this time I'm going to tilt my fish more because he was kind of straight up and down before. I'm going to tilt him a little bit more. And I didn't tilt him much more, but I tilted him a little bit more. And then I'm going to do the last one. And this is so easy to do. Only thing is that I didn't tell you is that the reason why I kind of cleaned it when you weren't looking is because it's really important to clean it quickly. This is permanent paint, which means I can do it on t-shirts, I can do it on napkins, I can make a beautiful table from this effect. But it's permanent, so when I'm stamping with it, I want to clean my stamps so that my stamps aren't ruined. This time I'm going to not stamp on the yellow, which means I don't have to wait for it to dry. And you can see the big difference in contrast. I think it's very different from the other one. Right? I did some note cards here, and so in this case I put the blue on the bottom and green on top, and I'm actually using more of the stamps, so I'm using that one, and I'm using our hello, and then here the crab, same thing, but this time I did one side in green and one side in blue, kind of a neat effect. Here I did the bottom blue and the top green. I think the bottom in the blue kind of looks like it's in the water. And then here's that kind of with blue and green as opposed to teal and yellow. And here it is with fuchsia and orange. So a lot of fun, really easy. Try stamping with paints. You might really enjoy this. These two are stamped with paints, and these three are stamped with Wild Wasabi and Marina Mist. So just using the markers on one side with Wild Wasabi and Marina Mist on the other one. So have a lot of fun with this. The paint gives an amazing texture and a really great look and feel. All of these cards are going to Elisa tomorrow. So Elisa, thank you so much for your support and for subscribing to my channel. And you'll see more soon. Take care. I'm getting used to aquamarine now.
I'ma take you to a place with the treble and the bass, where everybody's fine and there's no color line. The only thing we see is party by the sea. So y'all call us refugees. So join us for the party. Come on.